Okay, so we have Aberfeldy in Victoria sitting in front of us here. Aberfeldy is a suburb that I've selected for its flipping potential because I'm going to use the suburb analysis map page here to try and identify areas within this suburb that have the most potential for our flipping strategy. Assuming that was our strategy, we've been attracted to this suburb in the first place because we are looking to execute a flip, that is a renovate for profit in the short term, where selling is the objective. So basically, any longer term cash flow, any longer term capital growth is irrelevant. We're looking for short term profit. The suburb itself has been ranked very highly for its flipping potential. It's in the 96th percentile, so it's better than 95% of suburbs in Victoria for this particular strategy. The reason for that, although the sales volume's increasing, which is good for capital growth potentially, rents are increasing. This is the real crux for the flipping strategy. A large differential between unrenovated and renovated. So, what's that? That's almost probably 50% increase through a potential renovation for a standardized house property. And the other thing that we look for with the flipping strategy is that houses, 2 to 3 bedroom houses, are the most popular property type in the suburbs. So there's going to be a lot of stock on market and potentially a lot of demand for the standardized type of property in the suburb. And in this case, it's 3 bedroom houses, which lends themselves very well to a renovation for profit. Okay, so this suburb ranks, as I say, very highly. However, at the street level, there potentially are streets and areas in this suburb that we would really want to steer clear of with a flipping strategy. At the street level, I'll just click this filter properties button here because it's a really great way of documenting what's required at a street level for high flipping potential. At a street level, we like to see high proportion of owner occupiers, so that means higher than average to very high percentage of owner occupiers compared to the suburb overall, and a high range between upper and lower quartile of property. So a large variance in property price in the street and area. That's a comparative measure, so units are compared to units, houses are compared to houses, and the larger the differential, the more positive that is. So based on those two things, we've identified the suburb. That's only one part of our process. We now need to identify the streets and areas that have the most flipping potential. Okay, so firstly, let's get a bit of a feel for where the houses are in the suburb. That's what we're targeting. Property type. Okay, so it's a very even distribution and split down the middle almost. Green is predominantly or higher than average houses, and yellow is higher than average units. So the darker the colour, the more pronounced the further away from the average the area is. Each area is around 200 properties or residences. However, clicking down here, 20% average unit, 20% of there are 20% units in the suburb. Sorry, anything above 20% will be in the yellow. Anything below 20% will be in the green. So there are low amounts of units across the whole suburb generally. So it wouldn't really be a killer. Anything around that 20% mark, that'll be fine as far as relevance for a flipping strategy. What we also, as I mentioned, we do want to target owner-occupiers for our flipping strategy. So let's have a look where they are living. Okay, so there's no real patterns as far as owner-occupier versus renters. It's still around the 20% mark, so very low percentage of renters anyway in the suburb. Anything in yellow is a higher percentage of renters. Anything in the green is a lower percentage of renters. So we do want the absolute best of the best, so we can be fussy. We do want the lowest percentage of renters in the suburb if possible. So we're looking at the green areas and giving preference to those. So this particular area only has 4% units and 10% rental. So if you're buying a house to flip there, you're going to have a lot of stock in that little area, and it's going to be obvious that people are going to be demanding that to live in that street because that's what is there at the moment. So that's going to give you a lot of scope to sell to a larger audience and then create that selling demand around that larger audience. So the reason why we're selling to owner-occupiers, we're targeting owner-occupiers for purchase is because we'd like to sell to an owner-occupier. They'll generally pay more for the renovation that you perform. An owner-occupier will fall in love with an emotional purchase, and they'll pay that premium for all the bells and whistles or the really lovely presentation that you have as part of your flip. where a tenant or an investor might not pay for those things, and they might be looking for the yields or the unit or such. So another little thing we can do, this is a real cheat sheet here. We can click on the strategy toggle, which does all of our work for us. Anything that's highlighted in green is an area that's recommended for flipping based on the criteria I've just mentioned. There are 3 areas recommended in the suburb for flipping. These are the 3 green areas there. What we can do, there's 17 properties on the market at the moment in Aberfeldy. Let's put a filter on and only show the properties that are situated in the flipping zones. So there won't be many left. That's fine. That's okay. We've got 4 properties left. We've got 1 outlier there, but we've got 4 properties that we can start clicking on and looking for further details. So it's basically made our job a lot quicker. We're focusing in our attention on the absolute primest flipping streets and areas in Aberfeldy once we've determined that this is what we want to do here.